Thank you very much. And a very proud part of my CV is that I've been a student of Alvaro Pereira, an undergraduate student actually, when he was teaching government economics of some sort in the University of York. So it's always a great moment of my life when I meet him and meet him and meet him again, because it reminds me one of my happiest periods of life. So thank you very much, and thank you very, very much for being here and giving us the opportunity to discuss the issue of active aging, which has several different sides, not just fiscal, but also social, not just fiscal, but also with regards to economic and social multipliers that can be treated as challenges, but also as Mr. Pereira Alvaro said before, opportunities for us to be able to design and implement different kind of policies, reforms for active aging, but mostly active living, I would say. So it's not merely a topic for academics and actuaries. It touches the very core of our economies, of our societies, and the futures that we solely or commonly envision. So let me begin, and most likely you've already discussed that too, with an undeniable truth. The fact that we are aging more than ever before, and this is a truth not just in the developed world, but it's also in the developing one. It's a global reality, which is a triumph of science, a triumph of medicine, and a triumph of global prosperity. It's great news for us all. Yet, like many great achievements, it brings new and unknown challenges. So longevity as a demographic shift has emerged as a global megatrend, on par with climate change. Both are gradual in pace, yet have a deeply transformative effect. While climate change threatens the sustainability of our planet, demographic aging tests the sustainability of our societies and brings us back to previous stories and lessons from even the British Industrial Revolution and Malthusian traps, and how we can reinvent the solutions to those. In Europe, Greece, unfortunately or not so, stands at the forefront. Our population is aging more than most, while fertility rates remain critically low. By 2050, more than 30% of Greeks will be over the age of 65. This is not just a projection, this is a demographic reality. So what does this mean for us, for policymakers? Longevity is reshaping core macroeconomic fundamentals. Aging influences public debt, pension systems, and even monetary policy. The European Central Bank and other institutions are increasingly grappling with the implications of a shrinking labor force on inflation, interest rates, and the natural rate of growth. A recent CEPR study, for example, shows how aging populations can reduce equilibrium interest rates, making conventional monetary tools less effective than we were used to before. As interest rates approach what we economists call the zero lower bound, the point below which rates cannot be lowered further, central banks have less room to stimulate the economy during downturns. Meanwhile, and I'm sure it's been discussed quite extensively before, pension systems are under pressure. As the ratio of workers to retirees shrinks and people live longer in retirement, the fiscal burden grows. These are not merely technical matters, they are urgent challenges requiring strategic foresight and political will. What can we do, as you said before, to prepare ourselves to promote active aging and active living? Beyond economics, longevity profoundly affects social cohesion. An aging society can easily become a divided one, across generations, across different income levels, across levels of economic participation. This is why our ministry, now the Ministry of Social Cohesion, up to 6 months ago, the Ministry of Labor, not only focuses on fiscal responses, but on socially anchored policies. We have expanded family benefits, childcare services, and housing support, placing special emphasis on integrating vulnerable groups, such as young people, single parents, families with more children, older adults, into a strong and inclusive social protection network. We treat housing not merely as a shelter, but as a lever for demographic and social strategy. Our successful programs that most of you are accustomed to, Spitimu 1 and Spitimu 2, demonstrate this approach. These initiatives address both demand and, more critically, supply-side gaps. They reveal that there is a stock of available homes that can be brought to market when proper incentives are in place. And we're still searching and constantly searching for these incentives because we certainly have not reached the ceiling for them. Our social policies as a whole, in a systematic way, allowing people to stay longer in the labor force, as Alvaro mentioned before, and holding together the social fabric, bring the vision of social cohesion even closer. We also invest in active aging initiatives. One such example is a program that you might not be aware of skilling and reskilling the elderly and people with disabilities, which is part of the funding that we got from the Recovery and Resilience Fund, targeting initially 4,000 older people and 3,000 people with disabilities. These policies are the basis that we work for every single day, and we're trying to enrich continuously and widen our portfolio. But to these, we must add another major initiative that we designed and applied a few years ago. Mr. Tsakloglu, the former Deputy Minister of Labor, knows very well about this. We're talking about the right of pensioners to work while receiving their full pension. During our common time in the Ministry of Labor, more than now 300,000 pensioners are registered in the labor force, maintaining their full pension while contributing to their economy through their labor input into the production process. These reforms combat social isolation and empower older citizens to remain active, productive, and engaged. It's equally important to address and engage into gender dynamics of this demographic change. Fertility and employment decisions do not occur in isolation. Most likely, most of the participants here read the Economy site article a few weeks ago, Few It's a Girl, where we know that the fertility decision is not so much based on the gender of the baby to come. Our policies support women in balancing family and work responsibilities. Our reforms, introducing in Greece for the first time the paternity leave, enlarging and widening the maternity leave, widening the possible participants of the maternity benefit, allowing nowadays the self-employed to enjoy the maternity benefit as the employees and the civil servants in the country. These are reforms that move completely into this direction and the gender signal of this direction. To have a more complete image, we must add to all the policies above mentioned the policies and the reforms concerning childcare vouchers, flexible social care reforms, and community-based solutions. A notable example here is the program Neighborhood Nannies, which simultaneously addresses demographic needs, gender equality, and longevity by enabling women to remain in the workforce while raising families, and the mothers of the mothers to re-enter, the grandmothers to re-enter the labor force as the nannies themselves. These are not only social policies. They are economic investments in growth and productivity. And I would be, Mr. Pereira, very keen to see the impact of AI on the Greek productivity in your graph as well, and how much this is related to the share of the economy that is based on services or industry or or tertiary services as well. Here in Greece, we're proud to be the first EU member state to establish a national action plan for women, for the demography, I'm sorry. I was just informed that today the TSI between the European Commission and the OECD was signed so that we can receive in our ministry TSI for the National Action Plan for Demography and the observatory that we are establishing in our ministry. Building on this, we are establishing the Demographic Observatory, a permanent institution with your assistance in monitoring trends, assessing policy outcomes, and providing evidence-based recommendations for both national and local authorities. Such tools are continuously equipping us with data and insights necessary to craft robust, coordinated, and effective policies. But no single ministry or no single sector can manage these challenges in isolation. This is why we call for an integrated governance model, uniting housing, healthcare, education, employment, and social cohesion under a single demographic resilience strategy. Let me conclude with a note of cautious, always optimism. Yes, longevity is a challenge, but it's also, as you've discussed, an opportunity. If we invest wisely in long-term care, preventive health, and lifelong learning, we can transform aging from a burden into a resource, from a looming risk into a force of renewal. We should not be passive recipients of demographic trends and the changes which are coming ontologically. We must be their architects. The question is no longer whether our societies will age. The question is, will we age with dignity, with fairness, and with purpose? And this is our challenge. And I'm confident that by working together across financial, political, and social institutions, we will make it. Thank you very much.